Okay, y'all, I'm going to try to let this be my last video on this Divine Nine situation, but I have a genuine question. Why do Black Americans who are not in these organizations and have no interest in these organizations care about them? There are not that many people, black, white, or otherwise, in Greek organizations. So why is it of so much concern? I've gotten so much engagement on my videos about this topic, and it seems like there's a lot of negative feelings about it. I don't believe for 1 minute that all of the people who are talking about idols and idolatry, first of all, y'all don't know what you're talking about, and second of all, I don't believe you're that religious. It doesn't come across any other time than when you're talking about fraternities and sororities. First of all, now I'm not trying to be offensive to people who truly believe in God and who are really religious, but every truly religious person knows that every person, every human being has to work out their own soul salvation. It's between you and God. Other people don't have any salvation to give, and they don't have any salvation to take away from you. So all these people are talking about religion and idols is phony. Now you might be impressing each other, but you're not impressing me. It's phony. And furthermore, you can stop leaving these scriptures. I've been through the Bible 3 times. 2 times with a trained theologian, and 1 time by myself. So I don't need you to quote any scripture to me. So it's really not about religion, what y'all are doing. Religion is being used in this instance, and it's being used in a very blasphemous way. Y'all don't know the Bible as well as you think you do, and you certainly don't know the nature of God. So this whole idea about your religious experience is phony. It's really phony. And even the ones that are denouncing the sororities and fraternities, please understand that some of those people were never in these organizations to start with. Some of them were. They clearly lost interest in the organizations. But there's a lot of evil going on in the Black American community. And the Lord hasn't spoken to them about doing anything about it. Furthermore, even though they denounced the fraternities and sororities, they're still, what are they doing to replace that? Since they know they're so evil, in their minds, they're so evil, and they are worshiping gods and goddesses, which is ridiculous. What are they doing? Since God called them out, when God called you out of something, He calls you into something else. Now, I have gone on a couple of those channels of denouncers, and all they're talking about is the sorority, denouncing the sorority, and making money off of it. But they haven't replaced it with anything. Most of them don't even have a very good grasp of the scriptures, or they are taking a little bit of scripture and putting their own personal feelings into it. I'm just going to be really clear. Number 1, fraternities and sororities do not owe Black Americans an explanation as to why they exist. You could go out and create your own organization. You could have your own ceremonies or your own standards and guidelines, and as long as you're not violating the law, it really isn't anybody else's business. So the reason that nobody is coming on these channels arguing or trying to offer an explanation is because they don't owe anybody an explanation. And it doesn't mean we're trying to hide, and nobody's hiding anything from you because it's none of your business. It's nobody's business what goes on in somebody else's organization. If you want to know, you get in the organization. You get in the organization and you find out this organization is not right for you, you get out. Easy in, easy out. So what this young lady is doing, and all of these young people calling themselves denouncers, really is the most effective use of child psychology that I have ever seen. Black people are the only people in the world who would fall for something like this. Other organizations, other races of people can have their organizations, and people who are not involved in those organizations or who are not a part of those organizations don't go all over the world shouting about what they are and what they are not. And now everybody needs to know everything that goes on with Tri Delta or Phi Delta Kappa or whatever the sorority is or fraternity is on any other campus. But Black Americans feel like they have a right to know, and if you don't know, you hide something. And nobody said she was lying. There was nothing to lie about. There's nothing to lie about. She's just embellishing something to get attention, which is what she got. I think it's disgraceful. I think it's shameful that Black people jump on bandwagons like this in an effort to drag other people down, because the reality of it is people in fraternities and sororities are very educated people, and they understand the Bible. We do go to church. We don't owe anybody an explanation. So if we are willing to take our chances with the true and living God and let Him make the decision about our affiliation in these organizations, the problem here is that too many people are eager to jump up and try to play God. You want to take God's role and tell what God is going to do or what God said, when you need to be focusing on how God is going to judge your life. I have no fear about how God is going to judge my life, and I don't have any fear about how God is going to judge these organizations. You people who have so much to say are operating in a state of wishful thinking. That is demonic. You are wishing for some kind of punishment from God, which really means that you want some kind of punishment for yourself because maybe you don't like the organization for whatever reason. You are not God. You cannot decide what God is going to do to somebody because they joined an organization. Like I said, this is an effective use of child psychology on Black people because Black people like to drag Black people down when they are doing something that they don't like. That's all this is. I said it before and I'll say it again. It's crabs in a barrel trying to pull something down or tear something up for your own personal and demonic reasons. If we're okay with doing what we do and we are not afraid to face God as members of these organizations, if we're okay with it, then you ought to be okay with it too. Now that's all I got to say about that, unless somebody comes back with a whole lot of other stuff. Yes, this is infuriating to me because it's nothing more than Black people trying to tear down what Black women coming out of slavery built to provide some standards and some guidelines for young women, and especially college women, to go out into the world and make an impact. And y'all are trying to make it into something completely different. But if we are willing to face God with the choices that we have made, then you ought to be all right with it too. And I want to thank the people who understand what this scam is all about. I really appreciate you. Thank you for listening and have a great evening.